All right, guys, these exercises or drills are for my hockey skaters who have hip stuff, okay? So this is coming from my athletic trainer side, my functional range conditioning, movement specialist training, and I don't know your particular situation or if you have a particular diagnosis. Obviously, I don't know those things, but here is a tool that has personally worked for me with my own hip labrum issues, and that can be really, really effective if implemented in a safe way under the guidance of an athletic trainer or someone who is skilled in rehabilitation. If you're experiencing hip pain, there are a few different strategies that you can implement. And one of my favorites is something called functional range conditioning and utilizing a strategy called CARS, controlled articular rotation. Now, while CARS will not grow your mobility, it will make you more aware of what your actual joint workspace is. So if you know with what you're working with, then you can start to create a program to build where the deficits are. And in a sport like hockey, we are moving in all planes of motion. And that pattern, that actual structure or movement of skating is just very unique. There's no other way to really replicate that in a rehabilitation program except skating. So we need to move in all different planes of movement, flexion, extension, adduction, and abduction, internal and external rotation. And again, ball and socket joint at the hips, also the shoulders. And what a hip CAR, or hip controlled articular rotation, will do is it will take the ball and socket joint and it rotates the actual femur, the head of the femur in the acetabulum through all of those ranges of motion, okay? So I'm gonna show you how to implement CARS to establish what workspace you have in your hip joints, and we'll give you a really good baseline as to where to go next in your training to have less pain. My name is Jen, and I'm a licensed athletic trainer. I'm a yoga teacher, and I am a functional range conditioning movement specialist, and I'm going to teach you how to implement hip controlled articular rotations. There are a few different setups: standing or on the floor, quadruped, side lying. There are a few different ways to get this done, but I'm going to show you the standing variation, and I will make some other videos to show you some modifications. You will need a wall, and so I'm going to tell you to get out of that competitive athlete mentality that you don't need a wall. I have good enough balance. You got to let that go, let the ego go. Use a wall, okay? So to get started, find yourself in a tall posture, okay? And ideally you will have done some sort of warm up so that you're not getting into this drill cold, all right? So we'll start standing using a wall. The leg that's working is my outside leg, okay? So in your mind, envision that we're creating these kind of big intentional joint circles, and let's not get hung up on terminology, okay? So I'm gonna give you lots of cues, do the best that you can, but at the end of the day, it's all about feel, okay? How things feel. With my hand that I'm not bracing myself with, I'm gonna make a fist so that I create upper body tension and encourage more muscle fibers to be recruited, okay? Standing strong through this left leg, I'm gonna take a breath as I bring the knee across the midline. My toes are flexed. I'm keeping tension in this arm here. Draw the knee out to the side, and I'm gonna pause here. This is where a lot of people get hung up. We wanna internally rotate the hip. So what that means is the knee is gonna come forward, the heel will reach back. Now, if you have impingement or a labrum injury, that's not gonna feel good, all right? So if I were to go back to the start and start over, we'll go across, out to the side, lower the knee a little bit, then internally rotate, okay? Pause here. It might feel like your glute is gonna cramp. It may not, okay? But we're testing your end ranges of motion. Internal rotation at the hip, my knee is bent. I'm gonna send my heel back so that I'm finding hip extension, but without leaning forward. You'll see what I mean in a moment. Then we'll come into center, so knee to knee. That is half a car. Let's do that again. I'll show you from the side. Knee comes up across the body. We'll pause here. Okay. From this point, I'm going to drop my knee a little bit so that I can internally rotate as I reach my heel back. Now we're going to want to do this. Don't do that. Okay. We want to find true hip extension and then find knee to knee in real time. Here we go. Across, out to the side, drop the knee, reach the heel back, draw knee to knee. Okay. From this shape, we have to return to the start. So send the heel back, hip extension. Open the knee out, external rotation, lift the knee, and then drop back through the center. Okay, so real time from the side view, and then I'm going to turn around and show you from the front. All right, knee across, out to the side, drop the knee as we bend, reach back, hip extension, knee to knee. Reach back, hit that barrier, can't go any further. Open the knee like you're coming up and over a hurdle and back to the start, okay? It will not be perfect, but if someone watches you or if you take a video of yourself doing it, you're gonna see where your body needs to compensate, all right? So from the front, this is what an entire hip car will look like. Upper body tension, tall posture, ribs are in and down. Take a deep breath in. Big exhale. So my ribs are engaged. Draw the knee across the body, out to the side. This is not meant to be fast. Knee will drop down so I can internally rotate and send the knee back. Hip extension, knee to knee. Reset as we send back, hip extension. Try not to flex forward. Lift the knee up and over, and then drop back alongside the body, okay? Here are some compensations that you might see, and you might very well do too, and that's okay. This takes practice, right? People love to kind of breeze through controlled articulations because they're hard and they don't want to go slowly through them, which is actually the point. So make an effort to slow this down, and I'll show you a couple of compensations that I typically see. Never move into the point of pinching pain, okay? Some discomfort, crampiness sensation, okay, I can live with that. But if something is pinching and hurts, you need to make an edit. There needs to be modification.